In the far reaches of the vast African savanna, cradled between the amber hills and veiled by the mist of the great Mirange River, lay the ancient village of Kalibwe. The people of Kalibwe were proud, tillers of soil, singers of song, dancers of spirit. Their cattle grazed contentedly in the wide plains, their children raced barefoot through maize fields, and the evenings were filled with the low hum of elders telling stories by firelight. But amid their humble lives stood a sacred treasure, the drum of Niawamba. This drum, carved from the sacred heartwood of the iron tree and sealed with the skin of a lion that had died of natural causes, a rare and spiritual beast, was more than just a musical instrument. It was a symbol, a legacy, a divine connection to the ancestors. It was said that when the drum was played with a pure heart, the gods would listen, and the ancestors would rise to whisper secrets into the ears of the living. Only one person had the right to beat the drum of Niawamba, Mama Kalinda. Old as the hills, with skin like the bark of the baobab and eyes that sparkled with the wisdom of ages, Mama Kalinda had been the drum's keeper for over 70 years. She had been chosen as a girl, just 9 seasons old, when the previous keeper died. The drum had called her, they said. And from her first touch, it sang. Her rhythm summoned rain when drought threatened, comforted mourners during burial rites, and sent blessings across the land. Even the leopards that prowled the shadows around Kalibwe never touched her heart. They, too, knew who she was. But time, as it always does, pressed forward. Mama Kalinda's hands, once firm and nimble, had begun to tremble. Her memory, once as sharp as a porcupine's quill, faded like mist in the morning sun. And so, the Council of Elders decided, a new keeper must be found before the drum's voice was silenced forever. The word spread across the hills, over the rivers, through the forest. Kalibwe saw the next keeper of the drum of Niawamba. Drummers came in droves. From the highlands walked warriors with painted faces and drums tied to their hips. From the riverlands came women whose songs made fish leap from water. Even from the western deserts came nomads who had never before seen trees, but who had heard of the drum in their dreams. For 3 days and 3 nights, the village square became a stage of thunder and rhythm. Drums clashed like lightning. Feet stomped in dust. Hands bled from effort. The elders listened. Mama Kalinda, seated in the shade of the baobab, nodded when she heard promise, winced when she heard eagle. But the drum of Niawamba, remained silent. Cold. Mute. It sat on its dais, unmoved by skill, untouched by pride. On the 4th day, when the sun rose and most of the drummers had returned to their homes disappointed, a small boy stood at the edge of the crowd. His name was Toby. Toby was not a drummer. He was a goat herder, often young, raised by his grandmother on the outskirts of Kalibwe. His days were spent chasing after stubborn animals, climbing trees to rescue those trapped in thorn bushes, and listening to the sounds of the world, the way the river gurgled after rain, the rustle of wind through dry corn, the laughter of hyenas at dusk. In the evenings, while the goats rested, Toby made his own drum. It was small, crafted from a cracked calabash and the hide of a goat that had passed in a storm. He tied it with vine and shaped it with love. To him, it was not a toy. It was a companion. And he played. He didn't play to impress. He didn't play to be heard. He played to feel alive. His rhythms were not taught, they were born of observation. His fingers mimicked the beat of the rain, the flap of bird wings, the soft thuds of mangoes falling from trees. When Toby heard about the search for a new drummer, he didn't plan to go. Who would listen to a boy with a calabash drum? But his grandmother, eyes cloudy but heart sharp, touched his shoulder that morning. Toby, she said, sometimes it is not about being ready. Sometimes it is about being willing. So he went. When Toby stepped onto the platform, laughter rippled through the crowd. What's this? A boy with a broken bow. Maybe he'll call the chickens. But Mama Kalinda raised her hand. The elders fell silent. "Let the boy play," she said. Toby sat. He placed his calabash drum between his knees. He closed his eyes. The square was silent now, expectant. He took a breath. And then he played. Not with force. Not with frenzy. But with feeling. A slow, gentle tapping, like the whisper of a dream. His fingers danced like wind on grass. His palms rolled like thunder far away. Then a beat, like a heart. Then silence. Then a flutter. Then silence again. And in that space, something stirred. The drum of Niawamba, untouched, began to vibrate. A hum rose from its core. A soft light shimmered on its surface. The crowd gasped. The earth seemed to inhale. Then, the drum echoed Toby's beat, fuller, deeper, radiant. Mama Kalinda wept. The elders bowed. Even the sun seemed to pause. That evening, under a sky lit by 1,000 stars, the people of Kalibwe danced. Drums were beaten in every hut. Songs soared across the fields. Children painted their faces with ash and ochre, imitating Toby's calm demeanor. Yet amidst the celebration, the boy himself sat quietly by the riverbank, legs crossed, staring at the reflection of the moon in the water. He was afraid. "What if I'm not meant to do this?" he whispered. "What if the drum made a mistake?" Mama Kalinda joined him. She walked slowly, her staff clicking against the stones, and sat beside him with a long sigh. "The drum does not choose by mistake," she said. "But it does choose those who will question. That is how you know it was not your pride that called it." Toby looked up at her. "But I am just a goat herder." "So was King Zukoma before he united the valley tribes," she smiled. "The gods do not speak to titles, Toby. They speak to hearts." Among the crowd watching Toby's ascension was a young man named Kosim. Known across the region for his powerful hands and thunderous rhythms, Kosim had traveled 100 miles to claim the drum. His pride wounded, he walked away without a word. But bitterness is like a seed, it grows if fed. Kosim wandered into the forest the next day, alone, and stood before the tree of trials, where legend said the spirits tested the hearts of those who sought forbidden power. "If the gods will not grant me the drum," he growled, "then I will take the power another way." He made a pact with a dark spirit, one who had once been banished from Kalibwe long ago, Mitoko, the whisperer in the wind. That night, Toby dreamed of fire. He saw Kalibwe burning. He saw children screaming. He saw the drum of Niawamba cracked in two. He awoke with a start and ran to Mama Kalinda's hut. "The forest speaks," she said gravely. "Someone walks a path not meant for mortal feet." She gave him a charm woven from leopard whiskers and cowrie shells. "You must journey to the cave of echoes. There you will learn if your soul is strong enough to protect the drum." Toby, accompanied by his loyal goat Shiko, and a quiet girl named Mori, who had dreams of the moon and walked with the wind, set out across the savannah. They passed haunted trees, trickster spirits disguised as laughing children, and rivers that sang of sorrow. They shared food with strangers and heard whispers of a drummer who had awakened Mitoko. Finally, they reached the Cave of Echoes, carved into the side of a black mountain. Inside, their own fears spoke back to them. Toby faced the shadow of himself, a boy twisted by pride and praise. But he beat his drum in defiance, playing the rhythm of truth. The shadow shattered. Kosim returned, but not alone. Mitoko had given him a drum made of crocodile skin and obsidian wood. It used darkness. Wherever he played it, crops withered. The sky darkened. Kosim challenged Toby. "If your drum is truly chosen, let it face mine." The council, fearing division, agreed. A duel of rhythm began. Kosim's beats were violent, fierce, unrelenting, meant to dominate. Toby's were soft, but deep. They spoke of birth and healing, of ancestors and dawn. The drum of Niawamba responded in kind, glowing with light. Then, something unexpected happened. Mary began to sing. Her voice wove with Toby's rhythm. A storm broke above them, but it was not of rain, it was of spirit. Kosim's drum cracked. Mutoko screamed from the shadows, but the villagers, led by Mama Kalinda, chanted the old banishment song. Kosim collapsed, weeping. The next day, Mama Kalinda passed away peacefully in her sleep. Her last words, "Let the drum grow." Toby, now the keeper, did not place the drum of Niawamba back in the temple. Instead, he took it to the hilltop and buried it. From that place, a great tree grew, a tree whose leaves sounded like drums in the wind. Each year, children would gather there, and Toby would teach them not just rhythm, but humility, kindness, and the language of the earth. Kosim became his assistant, changed by his trials. Mary remained by his side, her songs guiding lost souls. And so, the drum of Niawamba lived on, not as an object, but as a spirit rooted in the people. It was said, in time, that whenever someone played a rhythm from their heart, whether on a pot, a pan, or a calabash, the ancestor smiled.